Hi, this is Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden, and you're watching MTV's Bailey Brothers Donington special, live from Donington Park. So stay tuned for some more videos and news of a wonderful competition to win various things, including tour jackets and Iron Maiden bits and bobs, after this.
Never get to rest, these Bailey brothers, and neither does Bruce Dickinson, because we've dragged him away from pre-preparation for this year's Monster Rock Festival. He's joined us in the studio. Cheers for that, Bruce.
Yes.
Well, some kind of a studio.
In the bunker.
Yeah, the bunker.
the quietest place in Donington.
That's right. It is nice and quiet. It makes a change. Well, tell us, Bruce, just before we talk about Monsters of Rock Festival and what you're going to do today, tell us a little bit more about Bruce Dickinson. How did you land the job in Iron Maiden?
Well, I didn't really land it so much as Steve approached me one day at Reading Festival when I was playing there with Samson, and said that, well, that Paul was going, and was I interested in trying out for it. So I tried out for it, and it worked. It worked. So, I mean, it was as simple as that, really. I mean, I did a session in a rehearsal studio with them for an afternoon, and they were actually going off to, I think, somewhere like Sweden or something to do a couple more shows, just finish up the tour. And they wanted actually to go into a recording studio like that afternoon and try it in a studio, see what it sounded like, but we had to wait about 4 weeks or something before we could go into a studio and try it. Yeah. And that's when we did, one of the tracks was Remember Tomorrow, which turned out was a B-side, live. You know, in fact, because we dubbed my voice on over a live, it was the live version of it. We dubbed my voice on over, and in fact, you can still on the audience mics, of course, you can still hear Paul sort of like chatting away and stuff like that. So we had to try and cover it up, you know. So it's quite amusing actually. We had quite fun because he would sort of like go, yo, and stuff like that in the middle of it, and I'd have to sort of go and stuff, you know, very loudly, just sort of, you know. But it was quite amusing. I think most fans spotted that as well, which is you know, which is good.
Yeah, but as soon as you started as well, I mean, like Maiden was always been big, but when you joined them, like the first single, Run to the Hills, it went straight in at number 7, about 82 time was it? 82?
Yeah, 82, 81, 82, something like that, yeah. I think Number of the Beast was obviously the album that really took us worldwide and broke us in that respect. I mean, it was one of those albums that was just the right album in the right place at the right time, I think. The ambition with Maiden has always been to broaden the audience without sort of selling yourself short, as it were. You know, there's certain kinds of people that are going to enjoy Iron Maiden, some quite surprising kinds of people, like get into the band. And I always like to think that there's no hard and fast rule. You know, as to who can be a Maiden fan and who can't, you know. The only rule is that you just got to like the music, and that's all right. You know, anybody can like the music. The kind of, you know, fandom that I don't really get off on is people who just sort of like buy one record or something like that, and suddenly they're all over the band and all the rest of it.
I know what you mean.
You know, I mean, I think some bands try and manufacture that. You know, there's a whole like market out there, a whole bunch of people who don't really want to get that much involved with like the depth of what's going on in the music. They just want to get involved in like the image and the haircuts and all the rest of it. And that to me that's a load of nonsense.
Yeah.
So that's how Bruce Dickinson started.
What, the haircut?
Yeah, cool. Can we talk a little bit about sports? Now, Sport,
okay. And now sport.
You're one of the top 20 fencers in Britain. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about Bruce? Yeah. You still practice a lot?
Yes.
Time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously when I'm touring, you know, the main thing is touring. So, but when I get days off and things like that, for example, after Donington, I've got about 5 or 6 days off before the German Monsters of Rock shows. So my coach is actually taking some British under-20 fencers over to Budapest. So I'm just going to go over to Budapest and train for 4 or 5 days and things like that. So you know,
that's why you're working out and getting rid of the attention before.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I mean,
you know, when you go out on tour, what sort of entourage have you got with you now these days? I mean, how many buses and can you keep in touch with all that now? It's not like it used to be in the early days with the transit van.
No, transit van, yeah, that's right. Well, we had, when I was in Samson, we had a Ford Escort called Mr. Heath, who used to, it was, I mean, it was lethal. It was definitely dangerous to your marriage prospects if you sat in the wrong place on the back seat, because the springs used to shoot up through the upholstery if you went over a big bump. Anyway, that's by the by. We carry approximately 50 people on the road with us in North America, maybe a few more, maybe a few less, of which probably 11 of those are actually truck drivers, because we usually carry 6 trucks and 5 buses on the road in the States. Obviously there's 5 of us, and we've got 2 or 3 security guys, wardrobe lady, production assistant, tour manager, stage manager, and you've got, you know, sound guy, monitor guy, lighting guy, we've got a guy for the vari lights, and then the rest of it just breaks down into people who rig the whole thing up, because most of the shows in America we hang everything from the ceiling. Yeah. So you've got to have guys who go up there, climb up there into the roof, and like put the points up so they can hang everything down. And then you just get down to people who basically set up the gear and follow spot operators. Before you know it, you're up to 40.
Than the fans realise. I mean, the fans just see the band and think, God, what a great show. You don't realise what it takes.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of technical people and everything behind every show. This show, the whole thing started actually at the last Donington.
You mentioned it.
Remember it?
Yeah, I mentioned it. Yes, it was Rod who put me up to it. Go on stage and like mention it. But the whole preparation of the show, we had a whole bunch of people down at that show last year, working out how to do it better.
12 months in advance.
Well, yeah, because it was the only chance we got to see the whole thing working.
So you knew them even before last year's Donington?
Yeah, we were planning it a year ago to do Donington, and so we decided we'd obviously keep the lid on it a bit, but we'd bring the sound guys down, the lighting guys, the stage construction guys, and work out a few different ways of doing things, and also have people looking at, like, you know, the boring things that make a festival go good, which is is there enough loos, and can people get to them, and you know, I mean.
This
sounds daft things.
127, I think, this year.
127. Oh my God, is that all?
That should do for us 3.
It sounds like there's going to be a few catastrophes out there today. Jesus.
The PA system, is it around about 80 foot? So I've heard. I don't know how true this is.
80 feet.
Yeah.
The PA system.
Yeah.
Oh, probably is, but I mean, I don't really measure PA systems in...
Is it the American show you're bringing?
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Is it from the American show?
What, you mean the stage size?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fundamentally, it's the American stage show, but extended with additional lighting and with additional stage platforms and all the rest of it. We've very seldom been able to put on, if at all, a full showing, a really totally full show in Great Britain, because of restrictions on pyrotechnics, because of restrictions on stage size and everything. It's nice to be able to do everything completely unrestricted. So it's going to be a very, very good show.
I can remember once reading an article with KISS where they were saying it's been difficult for them to bring a full American show over here.
Oh, it is. The only really way you can do it is doing it outdoors.
Firework display ever at Donington.
I hope so.
And a lot of people's wondering, the main question, one of the questions, the appearance of Eddie. Is it going to be a different one?
Oh, yeah.
Surprise.
Of course.
Are you going to give us any tips?
No.
I knew from Gate then.
You have to wait, but I mean, I'm sure that, you know, you'll be like news of Eddie, you know, pictures at 11, you know, appearing on this show later, live as it happens. Who am I looking at? Hi. Yeah. On this very screen, you'll see pictures of the new Eddie.
So, tell us, Bruce, then, how can you beat this? I mean, is this like the event for you? Is this cream the career off?
Crowning glory.
I mean, to actually headline, I mean, it's great just to get up on that stage and look at the kids you mind actually headline. It's a great achievement.
It's a marvellous feeling, but you don't want to get...
So, tell us, Bruce, then, how can you beat this? I mean, is this like the event for you? Is this cream the career off?
Crowning glory.
I mean, to actually headline, I mean, it's great just to get up on that stage and look at the kids you mind actually headline. It's a great achievement.
But you don't want to get... you don't want to get nostalgic before you've done it.
Oh.
You know, which is what it amounts to, you know. When you go on there sort of going, this is the peak of my career, this is the pinnacle, this is my swan song, this is my Morton Arthur, you know. I mean, and you go out there with that sort of attitude and you're already feeling like a museum piece. I mean, to me, it's another show, it's a lot of people, and...
It's nice in your town, though, Bruce.
Sorry?
It's nice in your hometown.
Well, it's almost in my hometown.
Near enough.
Near enough.
It's almost...
The nearest you're going to get into
almost
the festival.
in my hometown. Yeah, my grandma and granddad still live in Worksop, and I reckon they should be able to hear it.
Play with madness.
Yeah, what do you reckon to the state of British heavy metal from like when you was on the scene? Like
Well, I think they should all start trying. I mean, the great thing about bands like, you know, Saxon and Maiden and Samsons and all the bands of that period, even like, was that they all seemed to me to have a really strong British element to them, if you like.
Yeah.
That it didn't strike me that people were going out trying to be like Aerosmith clones or, you know, this sort of stuff, which is just rubbish. Because I mean, you know, people who come from Bradford, sorry, haven't got the same background as somebody that comes from LA. And LA and that whole kind of American sort of thing is what spawns that kind of music. And to me, if you come from, you know, Bradford, if you come from London, if you come from wherever you come from, that's your strength, that's your background.
Yeah.
Write to your strengths and design your music around what kind of person you are. And then you go over to North America and they love you because they're sick of bands that come from LA with like, you know, dressed in like turbans made of handkerchiefs, you know, and all the rest of it. You know, tattoos, trying to get lung cancer and with needles hanging out their arms. I mean, it's just like, oh yeah, another bunch of people trying to be more drug crazed and you know, live fast, die young. I mean, it's all a load of posing, most of it. And the music that comes out is generally pretty mediocre. And I think that there's a lot of talent in England.
Yeah, we believe that, but I mean, on the bands we've seen, we go around checking the bands out. The fun seems to have gone. At one time, you should just get your gear, get on stage, and enjoy it. Now it's so, well, we've got to go for a single market, we've got to try and get a record deal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's people are selling themselves short. They're forgetting that the basic idea. I mean, I suppose it's all right for me to talk about it. Here I am in this, you know, going to go and headline Donington today and just say, well, the idea is go and have fun, you know. I mean, you know, people will say, well, you just paid a lot of money for going and having fun, you know. But it really does have to be enjoyable. Because if it's not, people will suss you out.
Any material off the new album you think you'll be playing? Quite a bit.
Oh yeah, probably about well, most of it.
Would you
Everything bar a couple of tracks.
Yeah. And would you say this is the best Maiden album by far? In your opinion?
I'm not sure by far, but I would say it was, in my opinion, this was the best Maiden album. I'd say well, I don't know, everyone's got, like, something's going for it, and it depends what kind of perspective you view the band from. Because some people view it from, like, you know, how can I put it, they like all the really epic songs and all the really long ones that really get into the 30 minutes. And there's some people just like the 3 and 4 minute really thrashy ones, like, you know, the Trooper and Rothschild and things like that.
And some like more melodic.
And some like, you know, like the quieter stuff we do. And everybody looks at things from a slightly different angle. So depending on what angle you look at it from, you know, you get some people that can't stand Peace of Mind, you know, and other people think it's the best album we've ever made. A lot of people think that. At the same time, I've heard some people say Power Slave was like a brilliant album. At the same time, other people think Power Slave was like a sit on the fence kind of, you know.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time.
One thing about a Maiden concert though, Bruce, is you do mix most of the stuff from the other albums. It's a nice,
it's a nice mix. It's a good mix. I mean, we've got loads of stuff to choose from.
Yeah.
And this is actually the best set. This is the best set that we've ever had.
Yeah. Strongest, you think?
Strongest set. I know that because it just feels right, and it felt right from the we first performed it. We didn't have to change anything. I think, like most things in life, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. In most things, yes, it's very hard to maintain a relationship in rock music, but it's very hard to maintain a relationship anywhere in the modern world. To be honest with you, it's very hard to maintain a relationship if you've got 2 kids and you're living on the dole.
Yeah.
I mean, so really, you know, you can't go around with wearing your heart in your sleeve going, oh, it's so terrible, and all this money, and oh, you know what I mean? I mean, there's lots of people that would like to have your problems. So while it's things that, you know, your personal life can be good or bad or indifferent, you know, so is everybody else's. And it's just something you've got to get on with.
A quote in one of the papers.
Yeah.
I made the Crusaders to quit in December.
Oh, the Sunday, the Sunday smelly rag, yeah. Yeah, oh, you've got it there, have you? Oh, this one. I read this. I read this. It's. I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is here, right? No, it's not true.
There we go.
It's a half-truth, actually. Like most things that you read in these papers, it's a half-truth.
This is the reason I brought it, Bruce, to just let people know why rock music takes a big knock through guys writing this.
Yeah. Well, the other thing was there was something in the Sun a few days ago that all our equipment had been taken apart and searched for drugs and for 48 hours, which is absolute rubbish, you know, but again, they just print this garbage. So anyway, what it is, right, was we're taking, like, after this tour finished in December, we're having a whole year off.
Yeah.
Right? So the guy says, so you're having a whole year off, so you're splitting up for a year? He said, well, I suppose so, you know, we're just like, we're having a year off, you know, and then we'll get together at the end of the year and start again, you know, do another album and everything. Anyway, before I go, right, I've got something. No, not for you. I'm not going to give you anything. You're joking, aren't you? Right?
Oh, I've just changed my
There you go. Now, this, you could actually get both of you in this. This wonderful jacket here, padded, quilted, just a thing to keep you warm and your girlfriend on a Donington night, is the current Iron Maiden Seventh Son of a Seventh Son tour jacket, and is only available to people like me or people who work very closely with the band. And it's wonderful baseball, leather sleeves and all the rest of it. You can win it in this MTV competition, when all you've got to do is answer the simple question, which is, where was the current Iron Maiden album, that's Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, where was the album recorded? In what European city? All right? So, you've got to send that in a letter or a postcard or something else like that with your name and address and telephone number on the back of it, so that if you win, you know, we know who you are, to the Iron Maiden competition, right? MTV's Metal Hammer, Post Office Box 1384, London NW1 OHW, England. Because if you're watching over there, you see.
Pretty cool. It took us 6 months to read that address. And then it marvellous. I just know how you've done that.
In fact, I think you deserve an MTV app for that.
Yeah, we'll give you something.
Yeah. See, we can't even get a tour jacket, so I mean, you're so lucky out there.
Like that, eh?
How about this? And
Hang on.
and for you,
style, but you know.
we'll give you an
Modify it
MTV. Look at this.
Yeah, that was cool.
What do you think, eh?
Donington material.
Oh yeah,
That was Stormham. Stormham.
And the T-shirt as well for you, Bruce.
Wicked
stuff.
Wicked stuff.
Once again, thanks for coming on, Bruce. Thanks for the jacket. We'll give that away for you. No problem.
Don't forget the competition, and we'll catch Bruce later in the party. And he'll be more relaxed, and he'll put on one hell of a show. That we can probably say.
You're not getting the jacket mixed up, creeping.
I'm trying to get this.